If you would like to see what your set of pots and pans would look like after a bomb hit your house, keep watching. If you don't, well, you've already seen it. This video is about scouted mission trip to eastern Ukraine Elina and I made this fall.
Good morning.
It was our first morning in Alexandrivka in our private hotel on wheels. It was strange to wake up to the sounds of birds and see through the window the bumped-out buildings surrounding the van. It was also unusual to wake up in the middle of the night to the sounds of artillery explosions. We hadn't yet learned to distinguish between incoming and outgoing artillery fire, but the ground shook. Hannah, our hostess, says it was safe because the artillery was shooting somewhere in the neighboring village, not here. If the locals are not concerned, we shouldn't be either. This is a story about how Elina and I rebuilt the home of an elderly couple. Initially, our trip wasn't intended for construction. Our goal was to deliver medicines to the front lines in Lyman and visit a member of our church in Sloviansk, that is near Bakhmut. He had been in the front for a year. On our way east, we stopped in the southern part of Ukraine, recently liberated from Russian occupiers in the village of Alexandrivka. This village is situated on the banks of Dnipro River, where it flows into the Black Sea. On the opposite bank, 6 miles away, are Russian forces. We're going through village of Stanislaviv. It's 6 miles from nearest Russian positions. They're located just 6 miles over the river, on that side of the river. We went to visit the elderly couple, Hanna and Volodymyr, whose home our church was reconstructing after it was bombed by Russians. And since we live in Lviv, which is 600 miles away from Alexandrivka, we hired a construction team from a nearby large city. And unfortunately, this team only managed to start the repairs before their plans changed. We had to look for a new team. Finding builders was challenging because Russians constantly shelled the area with airstrikes. Towards the end, we managed to find builders from Odessa who agreed to undertake the construction of the house. However, they required that we provide them with the dimensions of the building and send photos and videos of the structure. And this was to help them to understand what and how much building materials to bring along, as near Alexandrivka everything is destroyed and there are no stores selling construction materials. It took us only 1 hour to do all the measurements and take all the videos necessary. We spent some time chatting with Anna, giving her some food, groceries and our other household items. And then we moved farther east. Passing through Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, we approached Lyman. The blown-up bridges stand as witnesses to the fierce battles that recently took place here. Well, we had just been stopped at the last checkpoint before Lyman, and the soldier told us no civilians are allowed beyond this point unless accompanied by a military. And we don't have any military to accompany us, so they told us just park here and call the medics and ask them to come and unload boxes, medicine boxes, into their van. And the problem is we cannot get through to them, so there is no point in waiting here, but we don't know what else to do. It's night. Woo. This soldier just came to us and he said, well, okay, you can go, but if anyone stops you, don't tell them I let you through. So we're moving again. It is actually a scary thing to drive near front line at night when it's dark. Our only guide is Google Map, and there are no front lines marked on Google Maps. And there is a chance it can take us on a shortcut through the enemy's territory, and I do hope it will not do it. We visited the medics at the field hospital, whom we've been supplying with medicine for a year and a half. Well, actually the term hospital is used loosely here. They treat and perform surgeries, yes, but the facility is located in a village in abandoned houses from which residents fled escaping the war. Svetlana, She's in the middle. She hasn't seen her little daughter for a year. She misses her dearly, but continues to save lives in the village near the front line. Well, our builders called and they said, sorry, we cannot do the project for you. It's a bad news on one side because it's our last hope, because so many builders have declined and we cannot find any more teams who would come and build this house. On other side, I feel strange peace about it. We both feel good about it and we feel like God wants us to go ahead and do it ourselves. Yes, we're not builders, especially Elina, but it's not like building an entire house from scratch. It's just turning large garage into two-room apartment. There are external walls in place already and the roof. So all we have to build some internal walls, install internal doors, entrance doors, build floor and insulate it under the floor, insulate some walls and build a summer kitchen right next to the garage's wall. Tomorrow we will head to Mykolaiv. There is a large building materials supermarket and we'll purchase all that is necessary, all the tools and building materials that are necessary. Since our original mission was to deliver the medicine and minister to some people, Elina and I went on this trip alone. That was the first time I wished at least one more man was with us. The cart would carry only 9 of those sheets of wood. I had to purchase them in 4 portions. Because I already had a bunch of lighter supplies and our personal stuff in the van, I had to unload it all on the parking lot each time I came with the new portion of wood, because those heavy sheets of wood had to be at the very bottom. Okay, there is a little bit more room here. If I can put things a little bit tighter, I can put some of that in there. Finally, finally, a day and a half to pack this van and it's ready to go. Just in 20 minutes I unloaded what took me a day and a half to pack in the van at the supermarket. It is hard to believe, but I spent 2 days creating my shopping list. To create the list, I had to make blueprints of everything I was planning to construct. If I hadn't taken into account a screw or measuring tape or bought one less bag of cement, I would have had to go back to Mykolaiv to the supermarket. In peacetime, this would not have been a problem. I would have only spent 3 hours traveling. But because Alexandrivka is so close to the enemy territory, only residents are allowed to go there. Each time I was held at the checkpoint for the very long time. They checked my identity through Kiev and searched my van. I couldn't film it for you, but driving there between villages on a dirt road, sometimes I drove along trenches that were 4 feet from the road. I honestly believed that it would take Elina and me 3 days at most to do it all. In reality, it took us 7 days to complete the work, and we didn't have time to put wallpaper on the walls we had built. But Hannah's daughter knows how to do it, and she put them up after we left. We are very glad that we managed to restore this house for them before the winter. One family from the village was very happy that they had built a house for domestic birds before the war. It ended up the only structure remaining on their property after the village was liberated from the Russians. Now they're going to convert it into a home for themselves. We spent a very good time with Hannah. She said that over 90% of humanitarian aid in their village comes from Protestant churches, from Christians like us, not from the state. In times of such a grief, God's love is manifested as never before. Thank you for helping us to purchase all these materials and tools and provide Hannah and Volodymyr with a warm home before winter.